Have you seen his comments? No. Or he basically very heavily pushed back on you saying...
So get this, there were literally no negotiations happening at all. And apparently, everyone was under a completely different impression about what was actually going on behind the scenes. Like zero talks, no back and forth, nothing. That's the claim we're hearing, and it's honestly wild when you consider everything that came after.
I never said there were no negotiations. I never said that. I said, were they talking to Jon Jones? They talked to everybody. Everybody was talked to. Not one word of what I said was not true about the whole Jon Jones thing. And how many times have I sat up here and said, he's not fighting at the White House? Have you guys not all seen the video of the dude with the meta glasses on when he didn't know he was being filmed, telling them that his hips are shot and he needs hip replacement? Did you not see the videos of him running on the flag football game? And what did I say that wasn't true? Jon's the greatest of all time. No way in hell Jon Jones is going to be booked for the White House card.
I can tell you that Jon Jones at 4:24 p.m. posted on X that he would like to be released from the UFC. Hey everyone, I wanted to address Dana White's comments from this past weekend because the truth matters to me and the fans. Dana, you were heated about why I'm not on the White House card, but let's clear something up. My team and I were actually negotiating with the UFC for that fight. Real negotiations. I even came down from my original number, and what was I offered in return? I was lowballed. Yes, I have arthritis in my hip and it's painful, but that doesn't mean I can't fight. So let me get this straight. If I had accepted the lowball offer, suddenly my hip would be fine and I'd be on the White House card. That doesn't make sense. I even received stem cell treatment last week to get ready for the White House card, and training camp was scheduled to start today. I was preparing to be ready. I understand business deals fall through sometimes, but going out publicly and saying things that aren't true isn't right. After everything I've given to the UFC, the years, the title defenses, the fights, hearing that I'm done is disappointing, especially when, as of recently as Friday, UFC was calling me trying to get me on that White House card for a much lower number. If the UFC truly feels like I'm done, then I respectfully ask to be released from my contract today. No more spins, no more games. Thank you to the real fans who know what's up. Bones out. So, back to back, you have a tweet from Ronda Rousey, who's one of the faces of the UFC, saying, F you. And then you have Jon Jones, who I appreciate, backed up everything I said around 3 hours ago, saying we were negotiating. I was lowballed, meaning he believes he was lowballed. And if you don't want me to fight for you, if you don't think I can fight...
Opposite, but here's the cold hard truth. If Jon Jones's demands are not being met for the biggest fight in history, they're not going to be met for the non-biggest fight in history.
All right, so Jon Jones and Dana White are suddenly caught up in this massive public back-and-forth situation. And let me tell you, it has absolutely exploded into one of the biggest talking points in the entire MMA world right now. I'm talking social media going crazy, fans picking sides, the whole 9 yards. What happened is that after Dana came out and said Jones was never really considered for the White House card in any serious way, Jones completely fired back online with receipts, saying that negotiations were 100% real and legitimate. According to Jones, the whole deal fell apart specifically over money, not because the fight wasn't on the table. So now we've got these two completely different stories playing out in public, and everyone's trying to figure out what actually went down.
So grimy, when the real answer is like, dude, just pay the money. Pay the money. You're spending $60 million to hold an event at the White House. We know why. Just pay it. Make something good happen, or something that the fans want to see.
Dana came out and explained his side of things, and he was pretty detailed about it. He said that he had already told people many times that this fight with Jones involved was just not going to happen, period. One of the big reasons he kept pointing to was Jones's physical condition right now, which apparently is worse than a lot of people realize. Dana talked extensively about how bad Jones's hips have actually gotten, and this isn't just a minor injury we're talking about here. The situation is apparently serious enough that doctors have even suggested hip replacement surgery, which is a pretty major medical procedure for any athlete, let alone someone trying to compete at the highest level of fighting. He also mentioned that he had personally seen footage of Jones trying to move around recently, and it wasn't looking good. There was even a flag football game where Jones could barely run properly. Dana used that as an example of why putting him in the octagon right now just doesn't make sense from a health and safety perspective.
Dana, you talked about you don't want to say what fight fell out, which is fair enough, but there is obviously...
Well, there's weird circumstances around it that we probably shouldn't talk about.
Okay. There is speculation, of course, that it's Jon Jones.
No, it's not.
Was Jon...
Ever, which I told you guys 100,000 times, was Jon Jones even remotely in my mind to fight at the White House. I wouldn't. First of all, I've told you why I wouldn't do it. And number two, some guy with meta glasses on filmed him talking about his hips, that his hips are so bad. And I don't know if you guys saw that flag football game where he can barely run. Jon Jones he retired because of his hips. He's got arthritis in his hips. Apparently he's been doctors say he should have.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Dana also pointed out something that really seemed to bother him, which was that even while all of this health stuff was going on, and while Dana was saying the fight wasn't happening, Jon Jones was out there publicly talking about negotiations for the White House fight. That genuinely surprised and confused him. Dana said that he had already sent a direct message to Jones's lawyer way before any of this became public, making it crystal clear that the fight was never going to happen and that they needed to move on. So hearing Jones speak openly about negotiations and acting like the fight was a real possibility just didn't match what was actually happening behind the scenes, at least according to Dana's version of events. Because of all of that, the health issues with his hips, the disconnect in communication, and the overall situation, Dana basically treated the whole thing as Jones being done, at least in terms of being part of this particular event. He had already mentally moved on.